Hello, welcome to Junk Monkey Live, Season 3, Episode 3. I see Ping and Tina are already here. Thanks for being here. How are you guys tonight? Almost got it before it just interrupted me. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to turn that off before I go live. Excuse me for just a second. I got to sneeze. Oh, boy. Oh, the weather has been so crazy. It's hot and sunny one day, raining, sleeting, snowing, crazy cold the next. Hi, Ping. Hi, Tina. Who else do we have in the house tonight? Let's set this other screen up so I can see. There we go. I think it's just you two for right now. Once again, another week goes by and I didn't pre-plan the show. I just scheduled it 15, 20 minutes ago. And one of these days I'm going to get a schedule. I have got to retire from my other job. It's killing me. It breaks up my day right in the middle and just kind of messes everything up 4 or 5 days a week and just keeps me from getting ahead. I don't know if you guys can't really tell yet, but this mess behind me is all going away in the next week or two. I've been in here cleaning and sorting. I hauled a literal dump trailer load of old cabinets and bookshelves out of here over the weekend. I've got a bunch of tubs behind all this that you can't see that are going to get sorted and taken to storage, and then stuff that's in storage is coming in. I've already brought in a few watchmaking cabinets to get my watch parts and stuff out of this big, bulky cabinet thing behind me that just doesn't work for me. But yeah, right over here in this corner that you can't see unless I do. Yeah, you still can't see, but over in that direction is going to be where I set up to do watch repair. I'm going to retire from the public shop, but I'm not going to retire from doing the watchmaking. I'll still do Rolexes for the company and other luxury watches. But I get ambushed every day when I walk in that place. Walking through the door, they ambush me and they've got a million questions. They've got this they got this watch for me to look at, that watch for me to look at, and the work that I set up for myself that shouldn't have took more than an hour or two, it takes 2-3 days. Last week, I set up a job where Tuesday morning I was going to come in, knock it out, good paying job. I didn't get to it the entire week. Christopher's here. How are you? So yeah, that job is, I get interrupted too much. And when you're elbows deep into a $20,000 or $30,000 watch, you cannot afford to be interrupted. I have these glass domes. I just put it over my work, and it's hands off until they leave me alone. But I just can't continue doing it. Reselling last year, I made 10 times as much income reselling in gross as I did working on watches. So that job has to take a back seat. I got to pour gas on the fire that's doing me the most good. So I am hopefully the week of Thanksgiving, I will retire from my public job as a watchmaker, and I'll be a full-time reseller with the occasional watch job here and there. And I have literally thousands of old watches that need to be restored. A lot of them through the years I've robbed parts out of to work on customer watches, but I still need to go through all that stuff. I need to start fixing some of it up and getting it sold. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but there was a watch that's been kicking around on my bench for years, and I refurbished it and cleaned it and serviced it, put a new crystal, a new watch strap on it, and I sold that thing for $200 in literally like 2 days. Oh, you want to talk about picky customers? Watch customers and jewelry customers too are some of the strangest customers on the face of the planet. If you took a car in to an auto body shop and had it fully restored, and 6 weeks later you drove it into a ditch and destroyed it, would you take that car back to the auto body shop and complain and tell them it's their fault and they have to fix it again for free? That is a daily occurrence in a watch or jewelry repair shop. I don't know what people's thinking is. As you know, I paid a lot of money to get that fixed. I'm like, yeah, you should have took better care of it. Now they got grandpa's old pocket watch, and this literally happened to me. A guy inherited a very, very fine pocket watch. It was his great grandfather's pocket watch. It was a Hamilton 23 jewel railroad watch. It was the highest grade watch they'd ever made. Very expensive, very sought after in the collector's world. I serviced it for him and got it running. And I told him how important the watch was and he needed to keep it put up. No, he went surf fishing with it in his pocket. Places in Texas called Rollover Pass, where you have to wade out to a sandbar. Well, if you don't know where to wade out, you fall off into the shipping canal where it loops through there. And yeah, he flooded it with salt water, brought it back to me like 2 months after the fact, wanting me to fix it again for free. But yeah, that's just me complaining about my job. And yeah, I'd really rather just work on my own stuff anymore. I do the occasional Rolex job for extra money and just, close the chapter on that book. I hate these Windows updates and pop-ups and always trying to get me. I don't use Windows Explorer. I use Chrome. I have for several years now. But hey, how's reselling going for everybody? My sales, the numbers have slightly ticked up in the number of sales, but the quality of my sales, the amount of money I'm making is going up. I've pulled and got rid of a lot of low-end inventory that moved super slow, and I'm slowly replacing it with better inventory. And it's working. My average sale price, my sales numbers for the last 2 months have really tanked as far as the percentage wise, but that's due to the fact that I had a couple of really big sales fall off. They finally fell off, and now the numbers are starting to even out. Yeah, my daily sales have been a little better. My Poshmark sales have been great lately. Moved a lot of my clothing and shoes over to Poshmark. Shoes that I had listed on eBay for months and months and months, some of them close to a year, throw them on Poshmark, and they sell pretty quick. Christopher had good sales last week. 6 orders and non-paying bidders. Yeah. I sold 2 things the other night within minutes of one another, a baseball bat and some electronic doohickey. Both of them sold within a few minutes, and then both of them canceled within a few minutes. And since then, both items have sold again. Yeah. And I still get the ones. Here's the ones that get me. I had a person send me the request to measure the shoe at the longest point and the widest point. In the 20-something years I've been doing this, you know how many times a buyer who's asked that exact question has bought? 0, none, not one ever has ever asked for those measurements and then turned around and bought the item. Never. And the other one was on one of the 2 Rolexes that I have listed. What size wrist will this fit when it's clasped? Standard 6.5 to 7 inch wrist. I have sold well over 1,000 watches on eBay, and I've been asked that question so many times over the years, and not one of them has ever ended up being a buyer. I don't know why people do that. They just get on there and ask stupid questions and waste people's time. It might be, Tina. But really, do they? They just had that big layoff. They laid off like 500 people. You think they'd have the money to pay somebody to do secret shopping? I don't know. And then I get the people, what's the lowest you would take? I had this on a pair of shoes. I'm like, well, I just listed them a couple of hours ago. They're a $100 pair of shoes. But if you want them, I'll do them for 80. That's as low as I'm going right now. Oh, okay, I can do 80. I sent him the offer. 3 days later, nothing. Yeah, those people, I was like, instead of asking me what's the lowest I'll take, just make your offer. All I can do is say no or counter or accept. Now, the weird questions really get to me. And the ones that really get to me are the ones who continue questioning. Every time you answer a question, they fire off another one, then another one. Then I block those people. I'm like, nope. I've had to literally take listings down, end them, and then sell similar after I blocked them. Because once they start asking questions about a certain item, even after you block them, they can continue to ask you questions about that item, whether they bought it or not. The only way to get rid of them is to take that item down and then sell similar and relist it. Macari. I can get it on Macari for this price. Well, take your happy ass over to Macari and buy it at that price. I've had people do that to me too. I had a video game that I sold last year for $500. And man, these people come out of the woodworks. And one guy just argued with me. Well, it last sold for this. I'm like, yeah, that's because the idiot accepted that. I'm not accepting that. They generally sell for 500. I'm going to get 500 or I'm going to throw it in the trash. I got my 500. Hi, Brett. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that too. And it's like measurements on clothing items. On eBay, they have this little spot right there for a condition. And I'll put good, very good, excellent, whatever. And then after that, in all caps, measurements in pictures. Then down in the description, again, in all caps, measurements in pictures. Oh, what's this measurement? What's that measurement? It's in the pictures. And those people, they never buy either. Or if they do, it ends up being a return, which is one thing that I really like about Poshmark. I had a lady try to return a pair of pants. And here was her video or photo evidence. As she took the pair of pants I sold her, laid it on top of another pair of pants and said, see, they're not sized right. I'm like, I gave you all the measurements in the pictures. I gave you pictures of all the sizing tags plus physical measurement pictures of the physical measurements. You had all the information you needed to make your buy an informed buy. That's on you, not on me. And Poshmark took my side. But yeah, those people who ask 20 questions, they don't buy. They're just time thieves. In the last house that I lived in before we bought this place, it was a townhouse. And my eBay shop was in the lowest level, which was the garage, where all my inventory was at. And my office was on the highest level, which was, it was one corner of my bedroom, really, until but anyway. So I'd have to go down 2 flights of stairs into the basement, pull the item they wanted, take measurements or more pictures or whatever, and then run all the way back up the stairs, answer the question, and they never bought. It just got to the point where I just tell people, I'm not at the house right now. Maybe when I get back, I'll look into that for you. If you don't hear back from me in a day or two, remind me. They rarely ever get back to you. Excuse me. But the last 2 lives I've talked to you guys, I mentioned the fact that eBay has a new thing with the promoted listings, ads. I know I'm not crazy because now even Commonwealth Picker, Kevin, is talking about it. It's called dynamic. And what it is if you can choose to do dynamic, but if you just don't touch your promoted ad rate, they will automatically enroll you in the dynamic. And from what little bit that I read and what little bit I understand about it is it's a whatever they say the ad rate is at the time your item sold, that's what they're going to charge you. So, when you listed it, you saw the number down there, it was 4.6. Well, by the time it sold, it's 12.9. I don't think so. But so be very careful for those of you who promote when you're setting up your draft before you go live with that draft. set the rate you want to pay or turn promotions off, whatever it is you do. But I know people that they'll go back and they'll bulk edit everything after they're done and to put their ad rate in. The problem with that is whatever ad rate you have it at, when you edit it for the next 30 days, whatever the original ad rate was, unless you raise it, that's what they're going to charge you. So if it was 6.9 and then you change it to 4% for the next 30 days, you're still going to get charged the 6.9%. Well, the workaround is you set your rate. So instead of just leaving it on, turning it on and going on, go ahead and set your rate. If it's 6.9, whatever rate you're comfortable with, type that rate in, but change that number. Because if you don't change that number, you're automatically enrolled in the dynamic promotions. I know because I went back, I saved a draft for later, and I went back into it and I'm double checking, and it said the dynamic thing on there, and I'm like, no, this is what I want. As far as I know, it's still in beta. I'm one of the few people that they're trying it out on, but I don't even want to try it. To me, it's no better. It's actually worse than that pay-per-click thing, because they could just tell you they're going to charge you whatever they want to charge you, and that's just not. It's not a good thing. Tina, I honestly don't know. I have not thought about that. I don't know if they can automatically enroll stuff that you've already have listed, or if it's just new ones going forward. I really don't know. Somebody needs to contact eBay customer service. Oh, good Lord, there's a nightmare even trying to talk to them. But yeah, that's something I need to look into. No, I don't know if I should look into it, but I set my rate on all my listings. Yeah, this dynamic promotions things, I don't think it's going to be a good thing. What I read, the way they read it was no matter if it went up or down, whatever the average rate was, that's what they're going to charge you. I don't see those ad rates going down very often. More often than not, they go up. And when you are filling out your draft, they'll tell you what the current average promotional ad rate is. So and if you set it at that, and then you go back and you look at your live listings through your seller hub, over there to the right, it's a totally different number, and you just listed it 5 minutes ago. So, if they can't keep their numbers correct from one page to the next in a 5-minute time period, I don't trust them to do the dynamic rate correctly. Hey, Pockets and Stitches, how are you? So yeah, folks, you're going to need to go check your promoted ad rates. One thing I think will work is if you do a bulk edit on all your promoted ad rates and set them all to the same number. These days, the minimum is $2 or 2%, not $2. But yeah, 13.9. I told you. They just pick a number out of the air and tell you that's what they're going to charge you. And it's not going to be less than what you had it at before or what it was when you listed it. It never is. And there's no accounting for that number change. They just tell you everybody else is doing more. But if everybody signed up for dynamic, how do they know what the average is? The only way to average it is to see what people are setting for that rate and then average them all together. So, yeah. Now, you take that 13.9% and you add it to the 11, 12, whatever percent your item is final value fee. It doesn't take long to get way over 20% in fees. The reason I set mine at 4% is during the spring updates, they changed a bunch of final value fees, and the highest one was over 15%. And, I got tired of just having to remember what all the final value fees were for all the different types of items that I list. So I figured if 15 point whatever is the max, if I set mine at 4%, I'll never be over 20% total fees. Yeah, it's added to the fees. So, it's highway robbery. They got their hands in our pocket. Yeah, 3% is good, but I changed mine to 4% because I don't mind paying up to 20%. And this promoted ad thing sucks anyway. Over on Poshmark, to promote your item, you share it. Done. And it don't cost you a dime. All it costs you is the time to sit in front of your computer or pull out your phone, tap on it a couple of times. Boom, your item moves to the top of the list immediately. And no charge. Yeah, they offered me that savings too. And I'm like, nope. And it's not like they're giving me $100. They're just not going to charge me the $100. They'll get it back by just jacking up the ad rates and then some. If you're selling multiple thousands of dollars a month and they jack them rates up and they do it to 1 million sellers, they're adding millions of dollars to their revenue every month. And they're not really doing anything. I've actually got on somebody else's account and looked up some of my stuff. And my stuff was nowhere near the top. And that was back before I dropped everything to 4%. Because I used to have a maximum to keep me from going over 20%. So if it was like 4.2% or something other, I'd bump it up to 5 or 8% or whatever it was that kept me below 20% in total fees. And I went and looked. So I don't know that they're actually doing anything with that other than the one thing they will do is if somebody clicks on one of your items down towards the bottom of the page, it'll show a bunch more promoted items from this seller, or a little further below even that, it'll show similar items that are promoted from everybody. And I've scrolled through those a few times, but I don't think that many buyers do it, even though the majority of my sales seem to say they were sold through a promoted ad. I don't believe it. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Poshmark, selling of shoes on Poshmark is so easy. Now, they take 20% immediately. And here's the thing about shoe selling. The magic number seems to be $30 plus shipping. And the shipping over there is $7 or $8. I think it's $8. And if you send out an offer over there, you have to also give a discount on the shipping. And that shipping comes out at your end of the deal. So you kind of got to be careful when you're buying and you list. So you don't want to sell any shoes that sell for less than $30, really. Yeah, 30 plus ship. My average cost of goods on shoes is somewhere between $10 and $13 because I buy a lot of boots at 15 to 20 and I buy a lot of shoes at around 12. But I also pick up as many as I can around 8 or 9. So it kind of averages between $10 and $13. So by the time I buy a $10 or $13 pair of shoes and sell them for $30 plus ship, I don't end up making more than about $5 or $6 on that pair of shoes on Poshmark. So I have to, now I do have a bunch that are cheaper than that. I've actually, today I went through and put most of them at $30 free ship, which means I'm still only going to make a few bucks. But a lot of those shoes were lower end shoes that I bought and had listed on eBay. And the sell-through numbers changed. They're not selling like they used to or whatever. Yeah, Brent, I do remember those days and I miss them. But then again, I remember before they had buy it nows, it was everything was an auction, and uh, you got what you got and you shipped it. And honestly, until about 3.5, 4 years ago, that's how I did all my eBay sales were straight auctions. But then again, I only did anywhere from 10 to 2 dozen, maybe items a month. You guys, hang on just a second here. I will be right back. Sorry about that. My spring weather's got my allergies messed up a little bit. Hey, the variety flipper is here. Good to see you, man. Oh, you haven't missed much. We're all just complaining about eBay fees. And they have a new thing with promoted ads coming out. It's called Dynamic. It's still in beta, but it's looking like it's going to be a mess. So if you do promoted ads, man, you may want to go do a bulk edit and set one promoted ad rate across the board so they don't sign you up for it automatically and not tell you until you see your bill at the end of the month. Hey, Marie. You know, it's been crazy down here. It's warm and sunny 1 minute and snowing, sleeting, and raining, freezing rain the next. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, we were, a lot of us are saying our sales are slightly better right now. Mine are slightly better in both in number and the amount, but not by much. Hey, not bad. $500 ain't nothing to sneeze at. Oof. 43. It's not that bad here. Currently, I don't have. That's something else this computer keeps doing. It keeps not showing my weather bar. Where's my weather? There it is. It's 49 degrees here. 49, windy and cloudy and misty, rainy a little bit. I have a stack of VHS tapes, an ergonomic Microsoft keyboard wired, and a TI-84 Plus Silver Edition calculator, and a box full of watch parts I got to list tonight. They may not get listed until tomorrow night. Oh boy. Nah, I'll list them tonight. I went from having well over 700 listings to can barely keep 300 up right now because I just got rid of a bunch of dead stuff. Wasn't going to sell. It's taking up room in my inventory. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Mr. Monkey. I like that. Oh. So Kristen last week, I thought about her because I was trying out different backgrounds for taking pictures of Rolex watches. And she had contacted me a couple of months back and she had found this vintage scarf from Rolex. And it had pictures of Rolexes and this, that, and the other on it. It's a very pretty thing. I've never seen one in person, but I thought about it. So I asked her if she had sold it because I was thinking about buying it from her so I could use it for a background. And the very next day after I asked her about it, it sold. So So why don't y'all ask me about some of my stuff I got? It did, Kristen. I'm glad it did. That's something about old watches, folks. If you find old stuff that is related to watches, like old vintage watch boxes that are empty, old Elgin boxes, Hamilton boxes, Rolex boxes. Hey, look up empty Rolex boxes on I'll spit it out in a minute, on eBay, and see what they sell for. They sell for a lot of money. Old posters, advertisements, old signage, anything old watch related, because the watch collectors out there, they don't collect just the watches. They're much like any other collector. They want the stuff they can hang on the wall too, or set on their desk, or put their watch in. So yeah, I'm sure I got a bunch of that kind of stuff around. Old magazine ads, like if you get the old, I know we've all seen stacks and boxes of the old National Geographic. Well, throughout the history of National Geographic and Rolex, they've had a very close relationship, and a huge portion of Rolex advertisement in magazines was in National Geographic. So if you can get those old advertisements for Rolex out of the National Geographic magazines, you can sell that one advertisement for way more money than you could ever sell the whole magazine. Back to the bins in June. June is a long time out. I normally go to mine on Mondays, but here lately I've been too busy. I've only went once in the last few weeks. Or have a $1 day, but you can't have a shopping cart or a bag. So whatever you can hold in your hand, that's kind of crazy. How about my hat? Can I take my hat off and fill it? So 4-hour round trip for you, Christopher. It's one of those things where I have a couple of places I want to go shopping where I could get there in a day or less. But then by the time I got there, I'd only have an hour or two, and then I'd have to leave to come home. I've been thinking about going up the day before, getting a hotel room, do all my shopping the next day, and go home that night. And a couple of other bigger trips I want to do. But my old truck is kind of, well, my camper trailer is brand spanking new, but my truck is a 2011. And it will pull my trailer, but my trailer's right at the load limit for my truck. And there's a couple of big mountain passes that I'd really rather not try my luck on. So I got to get a new truck this year that'll pull that thing. I got to go from a 1/2 ton to a 3/4 ton truck. But I'd like to make some of these trips, like down to Salt Lake City or Las Vegas, and do some thrifting trips down there, or up to Portland. Gulf Coast Pickers is in the house. How are you, brother? Hey, Kristen, we just tilled up the garden behind my shop here. We're going to do peppers and tomatoes, just a real easy garden this year. We've actually been doing more landscaping than anything else. I got a new fence this past year. We've done the flower gardens out front, planted new bulbs, and got the mulch bark down. I've got some bushes, big bushes, rhododendrons to plant. And we got a white lavender bush that I need to plant. But I'm going to really stock up on the peppers this year. I'm going to make my own pepper sauce. Yeah, I'd love to go shopping with Tim. If it wasn't for Tim, I wouldn't sell all the electronics that I do. For instance, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you saw this morning where I posted about a sale that I made last night. It's a scanner, electronic scanner of some type, a little mini travel scanner thingy. It was on the shelf for $8 at the Goodwill. It's still new in box. Box was open, but everything inside the box was still sealed. I paid $8 for it, and I sold it for $300 overnight. But I sell VCRs and combo units because of him, and the recording ones, they're the best ones. I no longer do stereo receivers. They're just too heavy and too problematic. But yeah, Tim, if it wasn't for Tim, I wouldn't sell all the electronics that I do. No, I wasn't able to make it up there. It's my life is so busy right now. I work 2 jobs, and between doctor's visits for my wife and dental visits for myself, I've got some crowns getting. In fact, I got to go Friday and get a temporary crown removed and the permanent crown put on. And in the same setting, they're going to remove another old crown and get it ready for a new crown. So I hit the floor running every morning, and I stay on my feet until I'm just too tired to stay up anymore. So right now I'm just, and it's one of the reasons is that job as a watchmaker. It takes up half my day every day of the week during the week, business week. And I get interrupted so often that I'm not able to get any work done while I'm there. And I make 10 times as much as a reseller as I did as a Rolex watch repairman. And so that job has to go away. And I'm working on setting up here at the house so I can make that job go away and free up some more time for myself. Once I do that, and I'm not beholden to 50 customers a day, I'll be able to do some of that traveling and go to sales like what Marie had up north of me. And it's not that far from me. It's like a 4.5-hour drive from me. Could easily went up there, got a hotel room, spent a day, hanging out with Marie and them and doing some sourcing and had a pleasant time. But time is hard for me to come by right now. November the 4th. Wow, that's a long way out. Plenty of time to plan for it. That's actually November the 4th is about 2 weeks before I plan to retire. Seal foam. I just use bubble wrap. Now, some of my larger electronics, if you guys go to the bins, here's something you see at the bins a lot: yoga mats. I'll snag me a yoga mat once in a while. I've got one rolled up over in my shipping area right now. Actually, 2. Got 2 different types. So got the little thin rubber ones, and I got the thick foam ones. And I just created another mess for me to clean up. But yeah, if you go to the bins, there's always stuff like that there. If you got something that needs a little more protection than what bubble wrap can give you, get a yoga mat at the bins. So I don't know how your guys' bins work, anybody else's bins. I've only been to my own. I've never been to any other ones. But the more you buy, the less they charge you per pound. So at mine, if you get 20 pounds or above, it's 79 cents a pound. The electronics are all 59 cents a pound. Glass is 10 cents a pound. And books are 25 cents each. Yeah, you won't ever see me doing yoga. But yeah, those yoga mats make great shipping supplies. I always keep 1 or 2 around. A few months back, I was coming across the little mini CRT TVs. That's the cathode ray tube is what CRT stands for. And those are the old school gaming computer or TVs that you would play video games on back in the 90s. So a lot of gamers who like the vintage gaming consoles, they want the vintage gaming TVs. The mini ones are the easiest ones to get and ship. And anyway, the yoga mats are really good to help pack those things. Yeah, it is cheap, Kristen, but it's small. We have 2 rows of hard goods, and then along one wall, we have all the clothing. And usually at least half of the clothing bins is all bedding, linens and stuff. And Not really good bedding. I have on a rare occasion found a wool blanket or something, and normally it's like the military ones. They're not really, not like vintage World War II military stuff. I'm talking about like, Italian, or not even Italian, like Yugoslavian or Bulgarian or something that's super thin. And but yeah, we don't get good bedding or linens in my bins. And I don't know what it is here lately. I thought maybe there's a new TV show about thrifting or something, but the bins, normally there's between 15 or 20 of us, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But now when I go, there's 40 or 50 people in there. And when they bring the clothing bins out, there's only 4 or 5 new bins of clothing. And you can't elbow your way into that crowd to get to one of those bins. So, and the hard goods, I'm always hard goods and shoes. I do things a little, I look for different things than what most people do. Again, I like the electronic doodads that don't even know what they are, and I sell them and make good money. I guess I'm just lucky that way. I find these things, they got a model number on it. I look it up, and lo and behold, it's worth money. So I buy it and sell it. Shoes at the bins, I don't even look at the athletic shoes anymore. By the time they make it to our bins, they should have just went on to the dumpster. But I do occasionally find decent, like dress shoes or cowboy boots there. Even if they're in rough condition, I'm pretty good at refurbishing them. $2 a pound on shoes. You see, at $2 a pound, you get a lot of shoes can go 3 pounds. So that's $6. So, that's, I've heard of some places going to $3 and $4 a pound down in Florida, the bins down there. $2 a pound on shoes, clothing, hard goods, plush, 30. See, our plush, we don't get a break on plush. It goes by weight. Our electronics, if it goes to anything that has electricity going through it, it counts. Yeah. But again, I've yet to find a decent pair of athletic shoes at our bins. We've got guys, people that go in there sometimes in teams, and every pair of shoes they can grab, they fill the carts. And then they'll go off in the corner and sort them. And you get 3 or 4 of those people around 2 shoe bins. It's hard to get in there. But most of those people, they don't go for the cowboy boots or the dress shoes. Which I can't keep those in stock. And here recently, even before I moved over to Posh, I couldn't sell a pair of women's athletic shoes. Now I can't keep them in stock. And average retail for a decent pair of athletic shoes at my local Goodwills is $13.79. If it says Nike on it, it's $15.79. Yeah, I buy them when I can find them in really good condition, and they're worth at least $40 or $50. If not, I just don't mess with them. Although I do have 20 or 30 pair right now, but it's leftovers from last year, really. But I do pretty good with dress shoes and good quality leather footwear. And like I said, I can take a beat up pair of cowboy boots and bring them back to almost new. The trick is make sure you check those heels. If those heels are wore out, the bottom layer on a set of heels for dress shoes or boots is called the top lift. Just to get a new pair of top lifts by a decent shoe maker or cobbler can set you back $20 or $30 at the cheapest. So you got to make sure the soles and especially the heels are in good shape. As long as those are, the bottoms of them are good, the uppers can be brought back from pretty far gone. And one of these days, I promise I'm going to make that video about how to do that. It's not a hard thing to do, but it's not a quick thing to do. There's a couple of drying times that you got to deal with, and some drying times are a lot quicker than others. I've got a great big bag full of athletic shoes that I have to clean, but I really don't like doing it in cold weather. And yeah, bare fat's kind of hard to come by, though. Honestly, any leather conditioner will work. I use Big Four. Now it depends on the cleaning part of the leathers, on the leather uppers. If it's just a general cleaning, I'm not doing a full refurb. It's just cleaning them up and getting them ready. I'll use saddle soap and warm water. Suds it up, scrub them down, rinse them off, wipe them down, put shoe trees in them, and set them in front of a vent or a fan or something to dry. Now, if I'm doing a full refurb, have to reshape them the whole 9 yards. Hottest water I can stand, and plenty of Dawn dish detergent, and a fairly stiff bristled brush. Not too stiff, though. You don't want to go gouging the leather. But I'll totally saturate the leather, get them just soaking as wet as I possibly can. And then I'll stuff shoe trees in them. And they got to be the cedar wood shoe trees. Can't do plastic or metal. And get them in there, and then all the voids, I'll stuff that with rags and paper. And those you don't set. If you got to reshape them, you want them to slow dry. If you quick dry them, you'll end up with watermarks. And once you get watermarks, you have to start the whole process over and hope they come out. Then after they're dry, after you saddle soap or you deep clean with Dawn dish detergent and you get them dry, you have to rehydrate that leather with a good leather conditioner. Again, I use Big Four. And then I just use regular Kiwi products for the wax that goes on top of the leather conditioner. Try to match it to the color of your leather as close as possible. Put down a good thick layer, rub it in real good, set them aside to dry, and then buff them out with a good horsehair brush. Now on dress shoes, sometimes I'll put the start of a mirror finish on them, but that takes time, and so it has to be a pretty expensive pair of shoes for me to do that for them. Hell, I'll even re-dye sometimes. I've got Phoebing's professional leather dye that I use to re-dye boots. You get a lot of boots sometimes, especially black boots are bad about it. They'll get a scuff, and shoe wax just doesn't quite do the job. So I'll go ahead and strip them back, rub them down with some acetone, and then re-dye them. Really and truly, if you want to waterproof or protect your leather goods, one of the best leather products out there, bar none, is called Obernoff's. Yeah, they have pockets and stitches. I have one of my local Goodwills, the next town over, all cowboy boots. It doesn't matter if they're cheap plastic made in China cowboy boots, $49.99, $49.99, $40. It doesn't matter if it's a pair of boots. They get priced at $49.99. They can have big rips in the side of them, holes worn through the soles. The heels are so worn they're round. $49.99. They will not. I don't know what their thinking is on that, but that's just crazy. I think that's the one where all Nikes are $24.99. If they're high top Nikes, they're like $29.99 or $39.99. So I rarely even walk over to the shoe department when I go into that one. But there's a lot of stuff, shoes that they've never heard of, that Here's one for you to look at. Clove nursing shoes. Don't go bragging about that one all over social media. We don't want them finding out about those. I just sold a pair for $100. Well, another one that they haven't really caught, a lot of them haven't, or mine haven't caught on to yet, is the Nobles. They're just canvas shoes, but they sell between 40 and 50 on average. And I can't buy Chuck Taylor's All-Stars or Vans in my area. They're all priced at $15 and above, and they only sell for 20 or 25. If they're a little beat up, they'll price them at $13.79. But Nobles, they have no idea that Nobles are actually better than Converse or Vans, so they price them at $10.99. No, they're not actually selling them at that price. I say I don't go over to that shoe department very often, but I will go check it. And I've watched cowboy boots for months, and even at half price, they don't sell, and they end up going somewhere else. I don't think I've ever seen a pair from that store over at the Benz. Yeah, the Clove nursing shoes are really good to look out for. Just like I said, don't go posting all over Facebook or Instagram about them. So keep that one. As stuff like that, I don't post that kind of, whoo, Junk Monkey got paid. What'd we sell? Come on, tell me. Let's see how little, oh, and you're going to turn off on me. $9.99 for a Blu-ray disc. Cool. Plus shipping. Yeah, that's one of them. That's the only place I buy media anymore, just about, is at the Benz. It's a Blu-ray disc that I found at the Benz. Anyway, it's a Blu-ray. Let me grab it. I'll show it to you guys. It's currently the only Blu-ray I've got in stock. But it's got Billy Zane, Tilda Swinton, whoever that is, but looks like it's set in Victorian days. But I think it's got a little, well, it's R-rated, I guess, and it's not streaming anywhere. And anyway, $10 for a Blu-ray disc that I found at the Benz. Let's see. Weighs 0.7 ounces, so I can't have more than a few cents into it at 79 cents a pound. I'll put that in the shipping department. Telling you guys about the shoe trees. I had a pair of Cole Haans come through, suede leather that needed a pretty deep cleaning, and suede is kind of soft. The top grain is not there, but so I got them in the Dawn dish detergent, scrubbed them up. They looked great as they started to dry. What I didn't know is that the inside of those shoes are lined with calf skin, real thin layer of calf skin that were dyed black, and the dye didn't set. So it dyed my shoe trees, but not only did it dye my shoe trees, it bled through the suede and made this god-awful ugly mess of the light gray suede of the shoes. So those ended up going in the trash. And I probably paid $10 or $13 for that pair of shoes. So lesson learned, it cost me $13 to learn that I can't soak suede Cole Haans. So those get left behind next time. Yeah, you'd be amazed at some of the shoes that I have seen. I've seen them where the soles were not only cracked, but had big chunks missing out of them. Here's a great one that I found just this past week. I went in and a new cart came out. somebody had taken a plastic water bottle and cut the top off of it and used it to mix 2-part epoxy in. And there was some leftover epoxy in the bottom of the bottle. So it's just this plug of leftover epoxy. They peeled the bottle off of it. And eBay put a price tag on it and put it on the shelf. Just a chunk of leftover hardened epoxy. I don't remember what they were trying to get for it, $1.29 or $3.29. It was something low, but still, it's trash. They put a price tag on that and put it out on the shelf. But hey, I don't like to complain about Goodwill too much. The whole reason that the majority of resellers exist is due to the fact that Goodwill doesn't know how to price things. A lot of the stuff that we sell, they priced in our favor. We complain about the stuff that they price up too high, but still, if they priced everything correctly, we wouldn't be able to do what we're able to do. Not sourcing at Goodwill anyway. Which is why I personally don't look for a lot of the same stuff that most of the reseller bread and butter, the common stuff. I don't really look for it because I already know that every Goodwill in the area knows about that stuff and they price it up. And even if they don't, there are so many other resellers around here. They go in and camp out in their little niche area. Like there's always 3 or 4 resellers standing around in the shoe area waiting for those shoe carts to come out. And that's how we are able to exist is we buy things from people who don't know how to price it. They don't know the value of it. We buy it, price it up to the market price and we sell it. Now, that's not all there is to it. We're the ones willing to take the risks. We're the ones willing to put in the work and all of that. But still, if it wasn't for thrift stores not having enough knowledge to price the stuff, a lot of resellers out there wouldn't be able to do this. Hey, Roman is here. How are you, buddy? So yeah, when you go in there and you see those prices, crazy prices on things that you would like to buy, don't get on them too much. Go look for something else. I guarantee you there's something else there worth buying. Probably a lot of times you find even better stuff than what you were looking at. That's one of the reasons I'll go in and I'll hit my little areas that I like to hit. And if I don't find something, I'll go just start picking up random things that I don't know what it is, don't know if it has resale value or not. And I'll start doing sold comps. It's amazing how many times I have found stuff doing that I've been able to buy cheap and sell for way more money than average bread and butter sells. And be nice to the workers there. Seriously, be nice to them. It's amazing how many of them will hook you up if you're just nice to them. Remember a few of them's name. Greet them. Always bring your cart back and wave at them when you bring it back. Make sure they see you helping them out. And you're not allowed to help them when they're messing with something big and bulky or heavy, but always at least offer. You see the guys that bringing out the cart with some piece of furniture on it or something. I always ask, and they always tell me I'm not allowed to help them, but I always ask. Phew. Let's see if I've missed anything in the comments over here. Crackers. You found crackers I hate finding food stuff at the bins. Almost as much as I hate digging down into the bins and touching something wet. That gets me every time. I did. I ate just minutes before we started the show, so I'm not getting hungry on you tonight. Had an Arby's sandwich. And I either ordered the wrong thing or they messed up my order. Damn sesame seeds on a bun. Yeah. I have, I keep a big bottle of water in the truck and a little bar of soap. And there's always some kind of rag or towel or paper towels or something in my truck. And after I pay and load up, a lot of times when I take my cart back in, I'll just step over into the bathroom and wash my hands while I'm still there. Sometimes you run across some really nasty stuff at the bins too. Oh, there was just one time I went in there and this whole bin of clothing. And for some reason, I didn't notice the smell until I got halfway from one end to the next, digging through all these clothes. And oh, the odor was terrible. It was like old diapers and litter box. And it was terrible. I had that smell in my nose for the rest of the day. I went and washed my hands a couple of times and I couldn't get away from the smell. So I left. Yeah. The sesame seed bun, I don't like. At the Arby's, I don't eat there very often, but when I do, I want the onion roll. Yeah. I didn't even buy the stuff that was in my cart because the smell was so strong and so bad. I couldn't tell if anything in my cart was stinking like that or not, and if it had transferred on to other stuff. So I just throw, hey, Cameron, how are you, buddy? Glad you stopped in today. You haven't missed much. We just been complaining about thrift store prices and nasty, smelly things we find at the bins. One of these days, I'm gonna catch one of your live shows. It seems like every time I notice it, it was like you streamed an hour ago. I apologize for that. I'm not avoiding your show. I just haven't been able to catch it. Oh, is Kristen still in here? I don't know if it was today or if it's tomorrow, but she was talking about going live on Facebook. Yeah. Shh. Yeah, can't talk about Cameron right now. Shh. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that. If Kristen, a real squirrel, is still here, chime in and tell us about your live on Facebook. Did we already miss it, or is it coming up tomorrow? I think she may have already left the room. It's been a while since she commented. Yeah, about 20 minutes ago. You hit the wrong thumb, Roman. Y'all remember back in the day when your computer would act up, you'd get the blue screen and then it would hit any key to continue. I had a computer do that to me, and I hit a whole bunch of keys at the same time, and then walked across the street to the Best Buy and bought myself a new computer. Well, let's see. We talked about me cleaning up the shop. We talked about sales. We talked about the new ad promoted rates program. Complained about pricing. Talked about the bins. I think I've run out of stuff to talk to again or about. So I think we're over an hour now. So I think we'll go ahead and call it. So I don't just sit here staring back at you guys with nothing to say. Yeah, that gum YouTube notifications don't work. I always get the notification after. So even for pre-recorded, I'll click on the notify me when people when have things coming up. Anywho, or even not. Okay, I guess we're not calling tonight. Cajun Reseller just come in. How are you, buddy? I have got to do a better job of getting the word out that I'm going live. But yeah, or you guys have got to do a better job of remembering. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if I've got a Blu-ray to pack up. Got an offer we can send out. Oh, I get to send out an offer on my Rolex, one of them. I've got it listed for $3,500, which is about the correct price for it. I've been offering 5% off for the last week or so. Hadn't got any. I've had a couple of $2,800 offers, but I've turned those down. Let's see what 7% looks like. $3,250. Heck with it. Let's see what 10% looks like. $3,149. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out an offer. $3,149. There we go. That'd be nice to sell that. MLP. All right, I'm drawing a blank. You have to tell me what MLP is. Ooh. Thank you. Well, I got all my thank you for shipping notifications in for Poshmark. Let's see, I sold a pair of Vans, a pair of Cole Haans, and a pair of Hokas. I've been finding Hokas pretty regularly. 2 or 3 pair at a time. I think I got 6 or 8 pair over there I need to clean. A little better than just brushing them off and wiping the midsoles. They got a little staining on the uppers. Yeah, you know, I used to start out at 5% first week of the month. Then I'd move up to 10% the second week of the month, and 15% the third week of the month. And then the last week of the month, it was 5% offers just don't work. And I kind of got tired of breaking even, sending out the 20% offers. So nowadays, for most things, just flat 10% rate. And that if people are really interested, that'll at least get the negotiation started. Ooh, a possum. I got a funny story to tell about a possum. I had a friend of mine, he had a problem with a possum coming up onto his back porch. He lives in Oklahoma. And the possum kept coming up on his back porch and eating his dog food and his cat food. And then one night he looked out the window and noticed it out there. So he got a 22 rifle. And he was going to throw the back door open and shoot the possum. However, when he threw the door open, the possum attacked him and grabbed his leg, so he shot at it, and it ran off. Now, my buddy has neuropathy, so he doesn't have a lot of feeling in his feet. So he got back in his recliner and kicked his feet up and continued watching his show. And that's when he noticed the blood running down his leg. He shot himself in the foot. Oh, I give him hell over that one every time I talk to him. I think I ought to rename him and nickname him Possum. Well, 3 out of the 4 pairs of shoes that I sent out today for Poshmark has started tracking. Alrighty, check on Poshmark here. See if anything new. 22. Yeah, somebody liked a pair of Doc Martens I got. I'm going to send them an offer. Let's go. $4. See if that does us any good. All right, guys. Seriously, I got to call it a night. We're well over an hour now, and my sinuses are kicking my butt. And if I don't get off this camera pretty soon, y'all going to see the waterworks start happening. So thanks for being here tonight. I'll catch you guys next week, and we'll see you then. So have good sales, find good stuff, and I'll see you next week.